Now, if you thought the Moto Edge 60 Pro is the only phone under Rs 40,000 that gives you IP69 rating, wireless charging, 3x optical zoom, well, you were wrong. Because there's one more phone under Rs 40,000 right now, after being deeply discounted, which comes with all of these flagship features. Now, why don't you guys take a guess in the comments and let me know which phone I'm talking about? And while you do that, I will also tell you the top 6 phones that you can buy right now under Rs 40,000. Alright, if you're here for the first time, I'm Ashal. This is Track and Tech English, your destination for detailed, incisive gadget reviews. Alright, so you know what, I'm not going to keep you guessing for long because the phone that I was talking about is the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. The launch price of the S24 FE was obviously meh, but right now it's available for under Rs 35,000 after discounts of course, and it is actually a pretty good deal for anybody looking for a Samsung phone in this price range. So of course what you get is a very good dynamic 2x AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate of course. You also do get Corning Gorilla Glass Victus Plus protection and 1900 nits of peak brightness. But more importantly, it packs in all of the flagship features and it's a proper flagship grade phone because you do get 15-watt wireless charging, you get IP68 rating and a telephoto lens. But the problem with the telephoto lens is that it's only an 8-megapixel camera. It could have been better, but still the results from the S24 FE, we were pretty impressed with it. Samsung's tuning is very good, and the one good thing that it does is consistency between lenses. And of course with One UI 7 and now One UI 8 also rolling out, you do get fantastic software experience along with Galaxy AI features. And by the way, the Exynos 2400E is actually a fairly decently tuned chipset, so the performance also something I'm not worried about. But what I'm worried about specifically is the fact that I'm actually talking about the 128GB variant. And if you want to spend for the 256GB variant, it actually goes above 40,000 rupees. So you will have to live with 128GB storage in 2025, which will not be enough, trust me. And one more issue that you have to contend with is that you do not get a charger in the box. That's an extra cost that you need to add to your purchase decision. Another problem with the S24 FE is that it's got only a 4700 mAh battery in the day and age where you can easily get anywhere above 5500 mAh battery. Now the next phone that I'm going to be recommending is of course the Motorola Edge 60 Pro. Now you must be wondering, Aisha, this phone is available for under 30,000 rupees, but that is the 8 256GB variant of the phone. We are actually recommending the 12 256GB variant of the phone. Now with this phone, I don't have to say it, you get every single flagship feature that you can think of. IP69 rating, wireless charging, a 3x telephoto camera, plus you've got a Pantone validation too for the display and even the camera tuning. Now while the camera performance is not like, oh my god, it's insane or anything, but it's tuned pretty decently and you can get some good shots from it, especially if you're shooting friends and family. Of course, video recording will not be 4K 60 FPS like what this S24 FE can do because it's only 4K 30 FPS. But there are a few things that Motorola has fixed. One of the things is that performance, because you get MediaTek Dimensity 8350, which is actually pretty powerful but not as powerful as the S24 FE. And you also do get proper LPDDR5X runtime and UFS 4.0 storage. So the problems that we had with the Edge 50 Pro, the stuttering, the camera stuttering, all of those issues are slightly reduced on this one. By the way, the Edge 60 Pro, unlike the S24 FE, actually has a large 6000 mAh battery. It's of course got faster charging speeds as well, 90 watt, and plus the charger inside the box. So all of these are definitely advantages for the Edge 60 Pro. Even the display is an all-curved display, which a lot of people do care about considering they think that it looks flagship grade, and it is a nice looking display as well. Plus it can get pretty bright too. And of course, one of the things about the Edge 60 Pro is that the software experience is good, especially with the AI features, which I am particularly enjoying. So yeah, one of the easier recommendations in the list for a completely well-rounded flagship experience, near flagship experience let me say, is the Edge 60 Pro. Now if you're looking at a performance-oriented phone, then there are many, but starting with the iQOO Neo 10. So the iQOO Neo 10 is the first phone in India with the Snapdragon 8s Gen 4 chip. You also do get LPDDR5X RAM type and you get UFS 4.1 storage in the higher end variants. So performance wise, this is very well sorted, but the other good thing about the iQOO Neo 10 is that display experience. It is actually fantastic. It's a large flat panel with extremely high peak brightness, not just when you're watching HDR content, but even when you take it outdoors. This is a very, very well tuned panel, and it's a 144Hz panel for supported games. And inside is a 7000 mAh battery and 120 watt charger, which actually charges the phone really fast too. If you want not just performance, but if you want great battery life in this price range, then the iQOO Neo 10 would be one of our top picks out here. Now, a couple of things to note is that the iQOO Neo 10 doesn't have flagship grade features, like you do not get like an IP68 or an IP69 rating. You do not get wireless charging either, which is fairly decent compromise to make if you want performance. But the software experience is something that I cannot compromise on. I'm not a fan of the FunTouchOS experience, but I mean, if you can live with it, then it's not bad. The good thing is that iQOO does provide software updates on time and it's generally bug free. And by the way, the cameras, actually they're tuned well, but the hardware is pretty average and you do not get any telephoto either. Now the next phone I'm going to be recommending is very similar to the iQOO Neo 10 and also made by the parent brand, and that is the Vivo T4 Ultra. By the way, I'm not a fan of this flashy color. You can look at the Meteor Grey variant, which actually kind of looks more minimalistic and better. Now, when you compare the Iquo Neo 10 with the T4 Ultra, they're largely similar, but the T4 Ultra is the Vivo V50 Pro that never happened this year. But because what it has is a very powerful Dimensity 9300 Plus processor, you get an AMOLED display, 120Hz refresh rate, you get a 5500 mAh battery, 90-watt charging speeds, all of that is there. But more importantly, compared to the Iquo Neo 10, what you get is a proper triple camera setup, because what you get is a 50MP primary camera, an 8-megapixel ultra wide, and a 50MP 3x telephoto camera, and a 32-megapixel selfie camera. Now, if you want a good camera experience in this price range, then you cannot go wrong with the T4 Ultra. Now, what's the problem with the T4 Ultra? The same problems that were there with the Iquo Neo 10 is that you do not get any IP60 or IP69 rating, there's no wireless charging, and the software experience. But at least the cameras are better, but yes, you will have to pay more for it. So the T4 Ultra is more towards performance plus cameras and more expensive, whereas Iquo Neo 10 is performance, which basically the 8s Gen 4 and performance only and more affordable. Now, if you liked the Iquo Neo 10 for performance, then I think you might like the next phone that I'm recommending a little bit more, because it just doesn't concentrate on performance. It's a slightly more well-balanced package. Yes, I'm talking about the Realme GT7, which of course is more expensive than the Iquo Neo 10. So with the Realme GT7, what you get is a MediaTek Dimensity 9400E chipset. Now, if you want to see how the 9400E compares to the Snapdragon 8s Gen 4, we have a video for you. In fact, we have a comparison of the GT7 against the Iquo Neo 10 as well. It should pop up right now, go check it out. Now, the GT7 has a fantastic, vibrant, large 120Hz panel with 6000 nits of peak brightness. You also do get LPDDR5X RAM type and UFS 4.0 storage. And one thing I appreciate Realme for doing is that they've stuck with a base variant of 256GB, which is nice. Of course, you get a 7000 mAh battery with a 120-watt charger inside the box. But the biggest advantage with the GT7 compared to something like the Iquo Neo 10 or even something like the Vivo T4 Ultra is the fact that you get IP69 rating. And the other good thing with the GT7 is that it's got a proper triple camera setup with a telephoto lens and a very nice selfie camera too. In fact, we even somewhat like the camera performance, which is not too bad. And more importantly, compared to both Vivo and Iquo, I actually prefer Realme's software experience, because it's based on the ColorOS code base, which means that you do get fantastic animations, very good tuning, and a bunch of really good, performant AI features. So it seems to be like a really good phone for this price, right? This should be our top pick technically. But the problem with Realme phones is that, a lot of users, Realme users themselves, are complaining that Realme seems to be slowing down performance after software updates. I hope that doesn't happen with the GT7, because it's genuinely a good product. And if you don't want to deal with that uncertainty of Realme, then the OnePlus 13R could be a better bet. And you must be wondering, Ashad, listen, OnePlus had green line issues. Yes, it did, but now they're giving lifetime warranty for all of their displays. So that's definitely an added peace of mind, right? And now when you look at the product itself, overall the OnePlus 13R, despite not being a looker, because I like the GT7, it is actually a very well-rounded product. Because what you get is very good performance with Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, LPDDR5X RAM type, and UFS 4.0 storage. You also do get a 6.7-inch AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, Corning Gorilla Glass 7 eye protection, and a very good peak brightness too. And just like the GT7, this also comes with a proper triple camera setup with a 2x telephoto camera, and we've actually compared these two phones. Now, if you want to know which one of these performs better in camera performance, you can anyway go ahead and check out all the details out here at Card should pop right now. And the rest of the features are also good, because you get 6000 mAh battery, 80-watt charging speeds, and most importantly, the reason why I love the OnePlus 13R is the Oxygen OS experience. In fact, a bunch of the folks in our office are using OnePlus phones as their primary. For example, Tanish uses the OnePlus 13, I'm using the OnePlus 13S, and somebody's using the OnePlus 13R. Those were all the phones in this list. Now, you must be thinking, Ashad, where's the Poco F7? Well, we're making the video before the Poco F7 has launched, so we haven't tested it yet. But that phone is also looking very impressive from all of the leaks and rumors that we've been seeing, especially the fact that the design has been improved this year with a proper metal frame apparently, and it'll come with Snapdragon 8s Gen 4. And considering we know Poco really well, they are going to be very aggressive with the pricing. I'm expecting that phone to be, lesser than the price of the Iquo Neo 10. Also, the Poco F7 is expected to come with a 7550 mAh battery. It's legit a power bank. Reportedly, it's also going to have 22.5 watt reverse wired charging. So technically it's a power bank. I'm really excited to test that phone out as well. In fact, once we test it out, we will update this list in the pinned comment to see if we want to remove any phone and add this phone. So yeah, stay tuned for that review of the Poco F7, and I hope that this list helped you out. There's of course going to be more lists coming. The under 20,000, the under 30,000, the under 50,000, the best flagship phones, all of those. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, keep tracking and stay safe.